Guys, last week we brought you the story about the controversy over a religious boundary, what some are calling a fence, in Mahwah, separating the Hasidic Jews from everyone else in the town, creating what I kind of labeled a safe space for religious orthodox practice. Sabeel, you are chasing the story. It started in Mahwah. It has now gone to Upper Saddle River. What do you got?
The Eruv, the religious boundary, consists of white PVC pipes attached to utility poles. The South Monsey Eruv Fund placed them in Mahwah, Montvale, and Upper Saddle River. Thursday night, hundreds of residents showed up to the borough council meeting in Upper Saddle River to vent. Some criticize the Eruv, the religious boundary, as crossing the line when it comes to separation of church and state. Supporters of the religious boundary have accused critics of anti-Semitism.
Sadaf, let me start with you on this. I saw the picture, and Jim and I talked about this last week, that I could not tell where the boundary really was, to be very honest. However, it occurs to me that with hundreds of people coming out and really upset, that maybe there's something more behind this, and I think it's too easy to dismiss this as anti-Semitism. Maybe there's a point. What do you think?
Well, I think people are uncomfortable with the unknown, and especially if there isn't a lot of communication and community building between the various parts of the town. So, I think it really comes down to building those personal relationships, and that's something that every town needs to do as we have more diverse constituencies.
Jim, I brought this up. I don't know if I buy it 100% that it's about diversity. Let's face it, these are some pretty diverse towns when you think about it. But I look at this as something a little different. What about this cry of anti-Semitism, and what about the cry of hundreds of people saying, but it's separation of church and state? What if these were crosses? Do you think you'd have as much controversy?
Well, one of the things that you're facing here is as kind and nice as all these people look when they come to a town meeting, and town meetings hardly anybody ever comes to, right? And what are you going to protest? But now they find something to protest on this thing. And the dirty little truth of this is that these are nice people with nice faces and nice families saying and thinking and doing very bad things. There is no way you can cover this over and say that it doesn't have an anti-Semitic patina to the whole thing. That's ridiculous to say that, because that's the truth.
Yeah, but what about the outsider group coming in? Where did the original group start? In New York? So maybe they're more offended by New Yorkers coming in and putting this stuff up in Jersey.
It's not an outsider group. It's 100 yards across the state line to Monsey on the border from there. It's not like they're coming from the south to the north or the north to the south. This is a thing where they want a little expansion of their territory to do things in their religious way, like walking carriages and going to parks. And by the way, if you don't think it wasn't racism, why did the same town council put up signs outlawing out-of-state people from using the parks?
Intrigued by what Jim is saying.
Well, I am intrigued and slightly horrified. No offense, Jim, because the First Amendment, as I've always understood it, is a two-way street. So that means that religious groups, everybody in this country has rights to expression, religious, free speech, but you also don't get to shut other people down because they're racist, because they don't agree with you. Plenty of towns, most towns in fact, outlaw certain things, whether it be a yard sale sign or something like a cross or a religious symbol, getting put on a public telephone pole. Okay?
I think the separation of church and state idea, though, seems a little ridiculous because we're talking about utility poles. And there's been a big cry to stop the Ten Commandments, to stop nativity scenes. I can't imagine that, one religious symbol should be allowed over others. It's more than a PVC pipe. It's absolutely a religious symbol.
But I don't think we favor one over the other. I think there are Christian symbols in many, many places, and I certainly don't think we have a favoritism towards Jewish practices in the U.S. as opposed to Christian.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.